Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro-TV. And it's time to speak about the mining sector here in our dear Republic. But just to remind you that if you're looking for sleek file cabinets to elegant workstations for your offices, the swivel chairs that embrace you with every 10, a conference table that becomes the epicenter of your team's creativity, look no further than to Gracefield Ventures. They also will offer you that sofa that invites you to sink into its embrace after a long day. Gracefield Ventures is 10 years old and it's been 10 years of transforming spaces into heavens of beauty and functionality. And they've made this dream a reality for countless individuals and businesses. And you should be one as well. And so pay Gracefield Ventures a visit at their showroom at number 2 John Neal Street, Kiserman, opposite the Kiserman Park here in Accra. Or you can reach them on 0501 672 776 or 0501 672 777 and get anniversary discounts and gifts. Gracefield Ventures, luxury redefined. Good morning, Martin.
Morning, Randy.
How have you been?
I'm fine. I think I've been away for a while.
Yes. yes.
Last week I had a program, so it was just clashing with this segment. So I had to, ask that I be excused.
Okay, so in the past two or 3 weeks, we've been dealing with the causes of illegal mining. And we need to move on to the government interventions in dealing with illegal mining. But I think that we need to wrap up on this once. You even sent me something about South Africa where 31 people are reported to have died in an old mine in South Africa. And it brings me, straight away brought to mind images of the Obuasi thing that we were discussing the last time. Where even a lady, one of the wives of the people who are gone there, was complaining and all that. Now, this is supposed to be an old mine, and 31 people have died. I'm sure they had gone there to expect for or look for gold.
Randy, thank you very much. Somebody will say, cry and won't cry. But the South African situation is very serious. Words and us, they came here. The entire South African police force, they even have a whole police force that deals with it. So the police came. They came with their Department of Mineral Resources, that's their regulatory body, to unsteady our system because we have the biggest artisanal small-scale sector, perhaps in the world. 40 tons on the average a year, that's a lot. It's even more than the total production of a lot of countries in Africa, both their large scale and small scale. We explained everything to them and they were amazed the way we are dealing with the situation. Many of their own is this abandoned or disused shafts. So they get in there and, everything underground boils down to ventilation. So I'm not surprised these things happen and they are dying. So you see why we need a lot of ventilation engineers in Ghana to handle many of the underground mines we also have for small scale. We told them, and then I think they love our system, and then one of the policemen even remarked that we wish we can bring our minister so he explain these things to him for him to understand. But be that is may, what they told us was that they call it a country within a country. First, we call it Galamsey, they call it Zamazama. They call it a country within a country. Why? Because they told us many of these Zamazamans come from the neighboring countries, particularly Zimbabwe. So is it a case that they will give licenses to people who are foreigners? But then they have a lot of gold leaving the country, across to Zimbabwe and then the neighboring countries. So they are losing a lot. Their situation is worse because they now have these gangs, well armed, a lot of drug, prostitution, and other social vices that has come to that's associated with their type of galamsey. What has made their own very complicated basically two things. Overwhelming foreign nationals from their neighboring countries as against we have Chinese here. And then, the economic situation. They have by far a very serious unemployment situation in South Africa. We also have unemployment here, but theirs is just the vestiges of apartheid, and it will take decades to address their situation. So that is it. It's quite a very sad case. Our own, yes, as I said, cry our own cry, but nowhere cool. That is it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. It keeps occurring. I mean, some of us are in the mining space, so we see these things all the time. Their situation is so bad, and we can get there. It basically tells you that if we don't deal with our own, that's why government has taken this thing seriously. If we don't deal with it, then it comes with this issue of gangs. Because something, Randy, they go there and live there for days. I mean, that's practically their homes. Unlike our own, where they run to the water body, work overnight, and then they get back to the communities. There they are living there, very well armed, full of drugs, prostitution, all the social vices you can think of under the sun. It is a very serious problem in South Africa. But let me repeat, cry your own cry. Yes, we also have issues to deal with here. Yes.
So let's wrap up on the causes of galamsey. The other time, you made a point about, you gave a picture of the economy around galamsey and galamsey or mining communities and the kind of livelihoods that are affected as a result of this. And I guess it was to paint the picture of the enormity of that economy and therefore how that becomes a basis for how to go about strategizing in dealing with this whole issue.
Ronnie, thank you very much, and then good morning to our viewers. Maybe in 5-10 minutes, I may have to summarize, but then there are two key points I want to point out in my summary.
Right.
Randy, let me start this way, and I'm happy people are getting to understand the political economy of small-scale mining in Ghana. As I said, lawful small-scale mining started in 1989. So if you like, 34 years on. Practically in just 4 regions: Ashanti region, Eastern, Central, and Western. Now, 34 years on, the activity is being done in about 12, 13 regions. Save perhaps OT, Greater Accra, and then Volta region. Again, it's a matter of time. You don't know what the airborne survey will show. As I think I told you that there are a lot of things happening in OT there. So we need to understand that first, that you are dealing with about, if you like, 2/3 of the regions of this country. That's one. 2, give and take. I even don't want to use the word employment. It supports about not less than 10%, or if you like, 3 million livelihoods. And by saying livelihoods, practically everything that is happening. For instance, you go to a place like Diaso, that's Upper West Dentra. You go to Dunkwa, you go to Takwa, Prestia and Co. Everything that is happening within these townships, okay, are directly and indirectly linked to mining. So you go to the central business district of Diaso or Takwa or Prestia, all those shops there, people come and buy all kinds of stuff, footwear, dresses, whatever. The money that circulates there, if you like call it the amokola, it is coming from mining. We need to understand that. It's linked to mining. People get up and go to the farm. They expect people to come and even take produce, even they just take it on credit. The guy who has a boboya gets up, he goes to the site, he's going to pick up a load. They call it load. People come and sell food. There are a lot of women associated with small-scale mining, in fact, more than men. So that's the kind of thing you are talking about there. Practically the entire economy. That's why I prefer to use the word livelihood than employment. So it means that it's not about politics. It's not NDC, MPP matter. Whichever government is in power between now and doomsday, if you like, call it that way, any policy, any strategy, any plan that you want to come out with to deal with galamsey, you need to understand the livelihood conundrum. If you don't have that, everything you do will fail. So this issue of ban, that's why I've spent a lot of time in June to explain the dynamics and the state of play. This issue of this ban thing, I can understand people. I keep saying it is an anger when we switch on our telly and we see the water body. That is what is making people angry. But then when you get to understand the political economy, the sociological impact, and the livelihood issues surrounding the entire small-scale sector in about 13 regions in Ghana, the economic situation we find ourselves, and the money involved and all these things. And then the fact that for 34 years, we did not repeatedly set aside some money. I mean, for $500,000 in CD equivalent every year to geological survey, to do geological investigation every year will suffice. So we sat down in action, and then 35 years on, you have moved from 4 regions to about 12, 13 regions. It is not something you can resolve overnight. So every Ghanaian, every politician, policymakers, actors, everybody, the media, we need to understand this and say, look, this is how the whole thing looks like. So any program you want to design to resolve the issue of illegal mining or everything regarding the sector, if you don't understand these issues I am putting out here, publicly, you will fail. So then what is government doing? One, Randy, I can sit here and the whole day between now and if you like 12 midnight, give you 1 million courses or drivers of illegal mining.
Yes.
But for me, if you ask me, all the other courses and drivers, if we pour our resources to deal with them, and let me repeat, we don't deal with the issue of undertaking geological investigation in some of these areas we have designated or set aside for small-scale mining, the problem won't go away. Because then, look at the context. People get up and they dig everywhere. Now, they even have what we call metal detectors because there's technology. So they walk around the neighborhood, the villages. They don't care, alleyways, whatever. It beeps, or they hear cat. They bring the excavator, dig. They keep digging everywhere. If you're lucky, they hit the vein, as they call it. Then they congregate, and then that's when you see this mass.
3 weeks ago, a road contractor was telling me that they have a project somewhere in the eastern region.
Yes.
And their project site, they came back one morning to realize that
the place has been
overnight, their own project site. And that is where he told me about the detector.
The metal detector.
So they call it ping, 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 ping.
Yes, ping, ping.
And that apparently the guys have done that during the day and realized that they heard the sounds, like ping, ping, ping. So the project site itself had been dug.
So they waited, then in the night, they came there.
Yes.
So it means that the people have to put security there.
Yes.
My only worry is that we don't extend it to the cemeteries and some of these areas.
And the worry was that it could even affect some of the road projects. That, he even made a point that sometimes you go and do the quota. Then the guys come and do the piping, and they hear, and they dig.
Yes, subsidence.
The road that is being tarred, they go down there because the metal detector has made a sound, piping, which shows that there's something there.
Yes. So, for me, and I don't believe in throwing up our hands in the sky and say there's nothing we can do. As I said, last year we got some money. Geological investigation has started now. Together with Ghana Geological Survey, we have a permanent, committee that is doing this. We have also released some funds to UMAT to explore some of these areas. These things will take time, but we need to sustain it. I'm very happy when we made the Parliamentary Committee on Mines and Energy. I think we told them that we're coming up with a very big budget on geological investigation. My minister is so supportive of that for us to do it. So we might see some of these benefits in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So that is one of the interventions. And if you ask me, this is priority number 1. That is it. Because you see, again, let me distinguish it from the large-scale people. The large-scale people come in, pick up licenses, do exploration. And then when they find the quantity in the reserves that they can commercially extract, they apply for a mining lease and then go through the process and start mining. The so-called Goldfields, Anglo-Gold Ashanti, Newmont, etc. Or even the lithium people, 6 years of exploration, they found it. Nobody does exploration in small scale. You just give them the license. So it means that the republic or the state must take it upon itself to do it. You are not going to now look for people who will do it because the technology and then the skill is there. Geological survey, the universities are there. We have started. It's barely 2 years now. So we just have to sustain it and then make more money available. And then maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see gradually that, look, you can get up one day and say, these are the blocks. They have been geologically investigated, form cooperatives or groups, and then put them there. So if you ask me, I'll mark this 9/10. The other one, that will make it 10/10. I can put about 10, 5, 6 points. So that's number one. And I'm saying it has started. We need to be patient. These things take time. You don't go and do geological investigation and results come out in 3, 4, 5 months. Okay? To take anything between 6 months, a year, or even some of them 2, 3 years. So that is the intervention, number one. Number two, and I brought some videos and pictures to show, so maybe it may start rolling now.
Right.
Number two is that, Randy, we cannot run away from the fact that mercury is killing us. If you look at, depending on the kind of reports you are looking at, practically in almost all these areas where small-scale mining is taking place, the mercury level is mind-boggling. What is found, that is what those who are doing the research are saying. What is found in, and now I'm being told it can lead to autism, nervous breakdown, all kinds of things. And can you imagine that 1989, we passed those...
Are you referring to these videos?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm talking, so that will lead me to this next point. Those, they can keep rolling.
Okay.
So can you imagine that 1989, we passed the mercury law, small-scale gold law, and then PMC law, so that when you mine, you can sell. So, fortunately, the state is a signatory to the Minamata Convention, which says take steps to eliminate the use of mercury. So, then, government decided that, look, we should bring in this, what do we call it, mercury-free machine, popularly called gold catcher. The full set, it crashes. You will see some rocks or boulders being dropped in it, into the jaw crusher. Then it concentrates, and then does a milling and then produces a gold. It uses only water. Fortunately, there's a Ghanaian who has registered to provide support services, equipment rental, so he does that. So what we do is that anybody who's a small-scale miner can be given. If you have lodged an application...
So a Ghanaian company produces this?
No, they import it.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And then, so that's it. And then we give it to a small-scale mine. So my favorite bongo, they have 2. They have license now. And then...
so is this the machine?
Yeah, that's a machine.
This is the full gold
This is a full gold
This
catcher.
is how it comes?
Yes, this is how it
So
comes.
it's not like the PPP
No. I mean, this is what we are doing. So this is to ensure responsible. Actually, this is a bongo site. You can see the environment.
Okay.
So that is it. We're taking 2 there now. And we gave them a borehole. We sank it for them, and that's what they are doing. And then they will pay over the next 2
So this
3,
doesn't
4.
use mercury?
It doesn't use mercury. It traps mercury. So I'll tell you something about bongo. You'll see the picture shortly. Normally, when we take it there, we do the trials. So whatever they have done, which they've thrown away, so-called tailings or the waste, we just put them in it. And then we produce the gold for them. The video will roll shortly and you see it. It's just full of gold. So this is to achieve 4 things. 1, to take out the Chinese and the foreigners who bring in the equipment.
Is that this?
Yes, this is it. So this the one rolling now is the...
So the yellow I see at the
It's
bottom.
all gold. And that's water.
And this is what they are thrown away?
Yes, this is what they have thrown away.
Tailings.
Yes, first, and I want the video, this particular one to be repeated. So
This
is bongo. They were illegal miners, about 100 of them.
Okay.
And then we carved the area, investigated, gave them the license. This is underground. So what they have dumped, we took it, put it in a machine, and then they couldn't believe. Okay? So they sold this, and then they made their deposit for their gold catcher. So they have 2 now. So you see, we have moved people, and this was launched. In fact, this was the first community mining site to be launched this year. In January, Minister just launched it. So this is the kind of thing we are talking about, responsible mining. So they are not going, they stop using mercury. We sank borehole for them. You regulate them, we visit them. If you don't do that, they can just go underground and go and die and that kind of thing. So this is the kind of thing we want to replicate all over Ghana. It's water. So what is this machine doing? It's like a soldier or a policeman who is on guard without a gun. Okay? So if you give the small-scale miners, and then they need money to buy equipment to process some of these things. So now government has taken it upon itself to do this thing. And we're going to bring more and distribute to them so that they just pay and then over time. So then you stop using mercury. Then the recovery is over 90%. As against mercury that barely gives them 40.
So what's this?
This is a machine. Okay, that is it. It's just to show the public the kind of things that we have brought in.
Okay.
We will need to do this. It doesn't matter even if it costs $1 billion because you see the health and safety implications.
What are we saying now? Like on rails?
Oh yes, yes. In fact, the health
is it like transportation.
Yes,
to
move
the
to move the machines there and all those things.
Okay.
That is it. Randy, the health and safety and implications of allowing the status quo, that is allowing them to use mercury and all those things, far outweighs anything that you do. So you go to Bongo now, there's nothing like mercury again. We're going to Boli. I was just reading something in the papers this morning that small-scale mining is impacting education in Boli. Everybody gets up and goes to the site. So I've just asked the officer, go to that particular site, do some work on it, and see whether we can formalize it and take out these children. So that is it. So the second intervention is providing technical assistance through the provision of mercury-free machine to the miners. So anybody can just walk into our office and then we just give it to you. We don't give it to illegal miners, we give it to those that have been lawfully permitted or are in the process. So that's government intervention number 2. The third one, that one concerns Minerals Commission now. Because remember when we met 2 weeks ago, I also told you that one of the drivers of small scale is the persistent complaints by the small scale miners over the years that the licensing process delays. So I think my first marching orders when I met the minister is the fact that we need to improve the turnaround time. So that's what led us to introduce this online system. The system was tested in November 2001, and then we look at the challenges. And then 2002, last year, we went fully online. So you can apply for a license from this studio. We work Monday to Sunday. And Randy, let me say this. You see, the best judges of the kind of work you do here, whether you as an individual managing this station or Metro generally, are the people who listen to you or who access your services. It is not for me to sit here and boast. But if you happen to speak to a small-scale manager, they will tell you that the turnaround time for the processing of licenses now at Minerals Commission has improved. Not just improved, has improved significantly. You can lodge an application Saturday, Sunday. By Monday, the officer will take you to the field. So we have done a lot. There has been a lot of intervention in improving the licensing regime. These machines are being brought in now to give to the miners so that they can stop the use of mercury, increase their recovery rate, and also practically take away the foreigners who bring in this thing. They take money and go away. We've started geological investigation. For me, that is a solution. It will take time. We've got to be patient. So by far, these are some of the interventions. Running the elephant in the room is a water body. Okay? Was it Monday or Tuesday? If you look at the back of Times, Ghanaian Times, it says they were talking about the Bonsa treatment plant. That has been our nightmare. We have no choice than to continue to rely on the security apparatus to keep flashing them out. That is the main problem. Yes.
What is your strategy to dealing with them? Because you made the point that these Bongo and Bole ones are not water body related.
They are not close to the water body.
Yes.
In fact, let me say this before you come in. Most of the small scale, it's just the nature of the ore body and it's geology. It's not me who decides. Many of the small scale operations in the north, for some reason, and again, it's the nature of the ore body, underground. So Bongo is underground. Dakrupe, Tinga, all those, there are 1 or 2 surface operations, but almost all these areas, They are all, if you go to Dakupe, you go to Tinga, even Kolof in the Bole, almost all these are underground. Now, the good thing about underground is that it is less environmentally what? Intrusive. You don't see the devastation on the landscape. So it means that what we need to do as a commission is to help them when it comes to making sure the appropriate shaft they will sink, and then support them through the ventilation thing, because if you're not careful, they will start dying. So we have to work with them and sort out the ventilation and all those. Now in the south, there are a few underground anyway, but if you take the likes of Ofin, Pra, and Cobra and Co., I mean, they prefer to go there because it's quick, put in the champagne and then dig the stuff. Or some of them are just a bit far off, but they will still lay pipes and wash into those major rivers, or work in the tributaries and then wash into them. That is it. So we will need to find a way. You see, in the past, we used to, and I think all successive government, they used to go and send the military, clear them, and then they come back. So if you ask me, the only way of resolving the water body thing is, whilst we are taking some of them off and giving them licenses and formalizing them, giving them a good catcher, providing alternative livelihoods to get into farming and all those things, you must also not take your leg off the pedal. That is the fact that some people, whatever you do, they go to the water body. In the past, they used to do it openly. Now they resort to going around 11 p.m. By 4 a.m., they're out. We will need to sustain it. So you go and clear them. Once the intelligence comes, you go and clear them. About a week or two, you go back. Okay? Sometimes the military move around as a show of force. So they mount the infrastructure. You go and remove everything, demobilize them. You go back quickly in about 2 weeks or so. Then, because you see, if you stay for 2-3 months, they are used to this, they'll be tired or they won't come back again. Look, within about a week, 2, maximum 1 month, they've sat up again. Okay? So you go, you take his excavator. About 2-3 weeks ago, you go back, do another intelligence and go and take it. So in a space of a month or two, he's lost about 4 excavators. That's anything between, let's say, $500 to $1 million. He might give up, or the incidents will reduce. Do you understand? Because the reports I'm getting from our district officers is that all the areas that the security people frequently go, now the incidence is coming down. What it simply means that they may also move to other areas. So you quickly have to. So all these interventions are running in tandem. Okay? It is not an easy thing. That's the only solution. Get new areas for people who want to do it lawfully, assist them, show this as an example of what government is doing, provide technical assistance. But the water body, you don't go and flush and go back after 3-4 months. They will come back. In fact, they are just even waiting. A week they want to go back. But you see, if you keep continuously going there, okay, they will be tired that, look, I go and set up this infrastructure thing, they come and clear it and destroy it, and then after 2 weeks they come back again. He'll give up.
So why are we not doing that?
Oh, now we've started. But it also requires a lot of resources. It's not that easy. Okay? And then remember, one of the points I identify as also a cause of galamsey, our attitude. Okay? Practically all kinds of people are involved. I love my minister's favorite statement. There was a journalist who put a question to him. Then he responded and said, the cost of one excavator, I'm told the brand new one is about $200,000. Randy, you see those boys that normally are caught up doing the swoop? Sometimes I pity them. But of course, it's also a deterrent to tell their parents that, look, discourage your children from going into these areas because they may be caught up in it. Randy, I don't know, maybe you are from Greater Accra, I come from Uti in Rara. Those boys that get involved in galamsey cannot buy an excavator, even a second-hand one. They don't have the money. So it means that apart from this supply of equipment to the miners to mine responsibly, geological investigation, which I'm saying government has now started, they are going to increase the budget for us, and also providing technical assistance to the miners. Randy, one other solution is that we will need to go after, I don't know what the word to use, the barons or the kingpins.
Yes.
That is not my job. But at least, trust me, my district officers who are on the ground or inspectors, they live there. They practically have information as to who is doing what. Okay? So maybe we will need to establish some crack, specialized unit within the security apparatus to deal with this. Like if you go to US, now these days people have what? Counterintelligence unit, cyber crime unit, or whatever crime is. Everywhere in the world, when there's an upset of a certain type of crime, you create a specialized unit to deal with it. Maybe it's time we created something like that, some specialized unit. It's not for me to advise whether it should be within the BNI or NIB or the police or whatever, or they have to work together, and then get this intelligence which are available and say, look, and they can easily do it. Somebody can disguise himself as, look, he wants to go into Galamsey. I mean, don't you have cases where people, even detectives, have turned themselves like kind of a prostitute just to get to a drug dealer? Yeah. And within some days or so, you get to know that, oh, maybe it's Ayisi, it's Randy, it's Kwabena Jack or Amaprana who is behind all these things. Some of them even sit in Accra. And they even have, if you like, 4 men.
But don't we know? We know all the
people. Well, we just have to say it. And that's it. So we also have to go after the barons. Okay? Because more often than not, it is those boys around who are caught up in it. You're a young guy, you know how to operate an excavator. So somebody comes to court and says, oh, Kwabena, excavator, that boy, he doesn't even know whether it is a lawful site or not. He needs his daily bread. So maybe, is it 100 a day or whatever? He jumps into that payloader or excavator or whatever. And then there's a soup, he's arrested. Innocent boy. Okay? Some of them also know. And then the kingpin is somewhere else. So why don't we go after? So I'm here saying that if we want to reduce the incidence of illegal mining, we will just have to go after these barons and these kingpins.
What has happened to the interministerial committee? Is it still in existence?
As far as I'm concerned, this thing, I really love it. This bongo thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was dissolved long ago. It doesn't exist.
It's been dissolved?
Long ago. It doesn't exist. Long ago.
So what's the new strategy for fighting?
Well, these are some of the things I'm telling you. The new strategies
this is from the Minerals Commission.
These are government interventions. Randy, remember
through the Minerals Commission.
Remember, we are a creature of the Constitution. If you look at the Minerals Commission Act, one of our rules among regulation is to implement government policy in mining. That's it. So, and then of course, in the course of implementing policies too, when we go to the field and then we identify certain challenges, we bring it to the attention of government. So practically, I deal with my minister almost every day and say, Minister, this is what we are seeing. I think we need to change course, or these are some of the policies we want to pursue. Just as the way he goes to cabinet, government makes a decision, comes back to us, and then say, look, this is what government has decided, implement it. If things are not going well, we're having challenges, it is my duty to go back and say, look, this is government policy, we are implementing it, we're having challenges here, let's tweak it, or let's do this, or let's add these new ones. Every regulatory body, Energy Commission, Minerals Commission, Fisheries Commission, your primary duty is to implement government policy. And you have that duty to go back and tell your boss or your minister or your board and say, look, do this, do this. If you look at our act, one of our functions is to formulate and recommend policies to government. We do that a lot. So many of these things, we are implementing them. And then, of course, some of the things require, we work with other sister institutions, so EPA, and then we also work with Geological Survey. So right now, there's a permanent committee made up of geologists from Minerals Commission and Geological Survey that are undertaking this exploration in these blockout areas. That is it. So these are some of the interventions government has put in place. To repeat, geological investigation, supply of mercury-free processing machine to eliminate the use of mercury, let them recover more gold, and then overall to mine responsibly. And then the improvement that has come in the licensing regime, because I don't understand why a small-scale license should take 6 months or 1 year to process a Minerals Commission. There have been cases where they've been lying down for like 2-3 years. And then some of the interventions just go beyond the regulator or the implementer of government policy. What I've just told you. The earth-moving equipment and the various machines that are used are so expensive. Clearly, somebody should be financing it. So the financiers, the sponsors, and then the barons, we will need to go after them. Yes.
Now, from what you've told us, it appears that it's relatively easier to deal with small-scale operations, albeit illegal, up north, because it does not involve water bodies largely, and so it's easier to deal with them. But it appears that our biggest problem, or because mining has not been happening in those areas for a long time. So it's easier to sort of carve out those places and deal with them. But it appears that the areas where we are not making serious inroads as compared to up north are really the south, and where we have a lot of water bodies, because you have carved out mining places, the community mining. You've carved out places in the south. You've launched this community mining in many of these places, yet we don't see improvements as far as our water bodies are concerned, as far as what's happening with illegal mining in those areas are concerned. It looks like you need a completely different strategy, a strategy completely different from what is happening up north to dealing with the situation in the south.
No. Okay. Randy, yes and no. So let me clarify. You see, the kind of activities or how you conduct a mining operation depends on the location or the nature of the ore body.
Right.
I mean, if you go to Obuasi, the ore body is under. The only way you can extract it is to go underground. It's the same in Chirano. If it's surface, they'll do it. They'll do an open pit because it's cheaper. You spend less. But underground alone, the amount of money you need to spend even on ventilation is a lot. So what's underground? And some of the mining companies have both surface operations and underground. Like Bibiani, like they have surface and underground mining. What I'm saying is that for some reason, again, maybe the reason is just the nature of the ore body. You see a lot of the small-scale activities up north, okay, underground. So let me repeat, Bole, Dakrupe, Tinga area, and all those areas, they just go underground because of the nature of the ore body. So what they do is you just dig some hole and they use that and go underground. You don't see they doing a lot of open pit or surface mining operations the way you see it in the south. That is not to say we don't have underground operations in the south too. So I need to put that in context.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then two, all these water bodies we are complaining about, Pra, Ofin, Tano, and Cobra and all those things, predominantly they are in the south. That's where they go. But we also need to keep a lookout for black water, because we've seen incursions around the Bui Dam and all those here. That's a black water. So we need to up our game before the black water also becomes like maybe Pra or so. So it's just the nature of the ore body. So that is it. That is not to say that those people in the north are better than in the south or whatever. It's just that they have to go underground. So you don't see they taking excavators and then devastating the surface. They go underground and pick the boulders, come up, okay, and then use mercury. Now we are saying we'll formalize it for you.
So the point I'm making is that the nature
is the nature of the ore body.
Of the ore body.
That will determine the type of mining you use.
So I'm just saying that.
But if there's a water body and they smell that there are good deposits, they don't go there.
So I'm saying that by the geology and the nature of the ore body and how mining is done suits the kind of strategy that you've deployed there. It is making it successful.
No, I will not say she's the kind of strategy we deploy there, because you see, in the end, that's what I want us to clarify, or as people may pick it out of context. You see, like 2 years ago, the gentleman was declared the best small-scale miner in Ghana.
Right.
He has all the approvals, and then he conducts his operations properly, or being mining. There's a place called Japa, I think in the Menfi or whatever area, where he's mining. He's been at the same place for over 10 years. There's a lot of hard rock in the south too. A lot of hard rock. So it's kind of localized. Because there are so many areas in the south too where once they hit the rock, they just stay there and work. The problem is the alluvia. And don't let us make a mistake. Alluvia deposit does not necessarily mean it's in a water body.
Yes.
You can have so many areas where the water body is even far away, but the top is just alluvia. They mine that, and then they get to the hard rock. Sometimes because of technology, once they finish the alluvia, they move. And then somebody may even come and do it large scale. So you will see a water body that may even be 50 kilometers away, but then there's an area where there's an alluvial deposit, and then they can still devastate the place. So that's practically what I'm saying. There are a lot of places that are also underground in the south, but in the north, this underground thing tends to be more common. So it means that dealing with illegal mining in the north may not be that stressful like in the south. But don't also forget history. The north just became a new frontier.
Yes.
So you also need to put that in context.
Yes.
I mean, in the south, mining has been taking place in central region, Ashanti Eastern, before I was born. But apart from the Bolga area there, okay, it's now that what has been going on in the south for the past 40, 50 years is now picking up in the north. So we should rather make sure, and that's Minister's slogan, Minerals Commission, make sure the challenges of the south regarding mining is not repeated in the north. Why? Because you see, they have one major farming season. And then you don't have this plantain and cassava thing doing well there. So please, if the north situation is a bit better or not that environmentally as challenging as in the south, it's important when you look at history. It's just a new frontier. These people have histories of mining. Two, the nature of the ore body is that many of the operations tend to be underground. Okay? You still have a lot of underground mines, small scale. I mean, let's say this. The whole of Takwa, the small scale activities going on is underground. Mm-hmm. The Takwa Township, predominantly underground. So Takwa is not different from Tinga, Dakrupe, Bole, or now Kolof. Yeah. So Takwa is underground. Prestia is underground. You just have a few or two areas that they do open pit. But Takwa, Prestia, predominantly underground mining. I mean, the whole of Takwa underground, there people are working. All kinds of people are working underground there. So the Takwa situation is the same in the north. Okay, so there, if there were any problem, maybe ventilation or cracks and how to do it very well. So if Takwa situation was like 70% of the situation in the south, it would have been easy for us to manage. Yeah, because you see, so once you deal with ventilation and you guide them.
So the question then will be, have we been able to manage the illegal mining situation in, let's say, Takwa and Prestia as effectively as we're doing for those up north?
Again, not as effective as we are doing in up north for two primary reasons. Okay. One, historically, these areas have seen mining, if you like, 100 plus years. So it's part of their DNA, they're their lifestyle. So they've been doing it over the years. And I've told you the inaction of, various government not acting and doing geological investigation. So have that at the back of your mind. So you see, now that in the north we can do more geological investigation, they will not be caught up in the southern challenge. That's one. And two, Randy, we can't run away from the numbers. Look at Savannah. I think by far it's the largest region in Ghana, but it's empty. They have a small population. The entire Savannah is just how many constituencies? I think about 7 or so. MPP holds, is it 3, NDC holds 4. So 7 constituencies. But it's the largest region. Compare that to Ashanti, 47 constituency. Okay? And look at their numbers. So in comparing, you don't just cherry pick. You look at the history of Takwa and Prestia. They've done this over the years. It's part of their life, with their DNA. And then the sheer numbers involved. Thousands, if not millions of people are within that Prestia, Takwa, Wasa, Amenfi, enclave. I mean, the number of miners there, perhaps it may even be more than the total population of the 5 northern regions put together. So if you look at population, history, and the sophistry of mining, that may account for the differences. So you cannot just get up and say, oh, it's not easy to resolve in the north like in the south. You need to have that at the back of your mind. So then, if you joke and you sit down and don't do anything now, and I'm happy with the interventions now by government, if you don't do anything, the southern situation will overwhelm the north.
So the point I'm trying to make is that then obviously in strategizing, you don't have a general, you can have a general principle, but then you must also have inherent in the strategy some tactics that are peculiar to particular situations.
Yes. So every solution is why is it that sometimes government will say, when you take doctors to some areas in Ghana, you get some additional allowances because nobody wants to go there. Because maybe if he's in Kolebu or Reach or even Dodo here, he can have access and do postgraduate training. But if you come and put him in, let's say, Rara or Piki there, he may not have access to certain things. He will even say, I want my children to go to very good schools, so I'm going to refuse posting. If you don't post me, then I'll do locum or I'll do private. So the policies we are designing, okay, there are some where it doesn't matter the location. Like geological investigation, you just have to do it. In fact, you even have to aggressively do it both in the north and the south, so that quickly you have more areas. Because you see, let me tell you something. A lot of people are moving from the south to the north now. So in designing some strategies, you have to take note of that. I was surprised to see a lot of account names in Savannah. Okay? Yeah, Obuasi town and all those things. So people have left the south and they move up north. That's how they behave, like nomadic people. So if you just sit back and so in the north, they're underground. So you formalize them, give them machines, let them work. Before I realize what is now 100,000 is now 5 million up north in the regions, because you didn't hurriedly start the geological investigation there. So we will need to be careful. So yes, context will determine some of the solutions, but some of them, it doesn't matter the location. You just have to investigate the entire country. You just have to supply good culture to everybody. But the small-scale team, if it's done properly, and we take our time, we are very patient, if you ask me, that will be one of the biggest solutions to unemployment in Ghana. Right. But definitely, we will have to be careful we don't get to the South African situation. We will not get there. We will not.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Martin. We need to leave it here today, and we'll continue next week.
Okay.
On this issue. So thanks for watching. That's been our conversation on the mining sector with the Minerals Commission CEO, Mr. Martin K.Ayisi. Up next,